Hey guys, good morning. It's March 14th, 2026. I'm here with Elijah Weintraub. This is the Sports with Mono and Mono show, and it's a beautiful day. And Eli has our banners decorated in St. Patrick Day, which is coming up on Wednesday.
Tuesday.
Eli, how are you?
Isn't it Tuesday? St.
Wednesday.
Patrick's is Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Tuesday. My bad.
We're gonna double check.
All
Yeah,
right,
Tuesday,
but the
March
show
17th.
is
Yeah.
sponsored,
Either
of
way,
course, by.
yeah. Great to be with you, Jim, as always.
Good.
Happy St. Patrick's Day for those that celebrate it. We have a great show. It's cold weather here in New Jersey, and to those who celebrate, happy 3.14 day, Pi Day, and math, the usual 3.14. You
Oh,
got a math day,
interesting
yeah, yeah.
factoid. Yeah.
It's math day, yeah. The nerds
Okay, well, we always start our
start the
show off
monologue.
with the monologue, and Eli, I hand it to you. Take it away.
That's, by the way, sponsored by Coriano Trucking of Summerhill, New York. Thank you, as always. Um, Today's monologue focuses on the controversy with the new schedule suggestions and ideas from both the NBA and the NFL. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, here's a little bit of background. The NFL announced a possible plan to put a game on Thanksgiving Eve, in addition to Thanksgiving Day, Black Friday, and of course, Sunday and Monday of football for the week. Steve Kerr in the NBA said, by the way, Steve Kerr is the head coach of the Golden State Warriors, for those who don't know. He said in a post-game presser this week, we need to play fewer games. We need to take 10 games off the schedule. The modern game with the pace and the space, I think it would be more competitive and healthier league if we played fewer games. What are my thoughts on both of these things? First, I'm going to start off with the NFL. First off, the NFL needs to stop. This is just getting out of hand. We are already
Mhm.
have enough games. We have Thursday, Sunday, Monday, sometimes even Saturday. And now you have all these international games that you're playing on a Friday, a Saturday, and all these other games throughout the week. The point of the NFL and what made it so special, it was on for only 3 times a week. It was on Sunday, Thursday, and Monday. It made it special. It made you want to say, I can't wait to watch it. Now it's on every day where it's becoming like the NBA and the NHL. Just another sport on every single day, pretty much at this point. It's the bottom line. Are we trying to tire out the fans by doing 4 to 5 days instead of 4 to 5 out of 7 days a week? I don't
Mhm.
understand. And again, this is not a confirmed event yet, but it's likely happening because that's just how the NFL is when it comes to ideas. They usually put it right away into motion.
Yep.
And it could happen this season too, according to the reports.
Yep.
I mean, is this your solution? Now, the reason why I think they're doing this, obviously, we know it's because of money. Or is the other reason, too, is to try to make up for the Thanksgiving games because the Thanksgiving games, 98% of the time, are not great. And look at last year's games. Look at Black Friday game. It was not great at all,
Yep.
what was presented to the table. But if this is becoming the case, then I think it's time to break tradition. Get rid of the Detroit Lions and the Cowboys that always play every year, break the tradition, and put a new schedule into place where we can see an actual good football game. Flex out these games if you have to. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because this is probably and is one of the most watched regular season games on the NFL market and NFL schedule. And that is just a bottom line. So get rid of this
Mhm.
no idea of the Thanksgiving Eve. You already have Christmas, you already have all this stuff. Let other sports get a chance. And if this is a problem, if that's what's coming down to, you need to break tradition and change up the NFL schedule for that Thursday. And that's just the bottom line. To the NBA perspective, before we get to everybody's thoughts, NBA, does it make a difference if the games are cut or not? Half the time, these players are already out. They're already out and saying, oh, I have a quote unquote injury or I need a rest day, quote unquote. Does it
Yep.
really make a big difference? Honestly, in my opinion, go ahead, cut it. But we know they're not going to do that because the NBA players make tons of money. They make millions and millions of dollars. And that is just the bottom line. They're not going to
Mhm.
change it. That's just the bottom line. But it is ridiculous, though. Now, we are complaining that there are too many games when you're paid millions of dollars. It is. If this is the case, you got to do either two things: take a pay cut and stop complaining, or play the games and call it a day. And just want to point out one thing, and Stephen A brought this up on First Take this week as well. Hockey players play more games and play much more physical sport, and you don't see them complaining. You don't see them out every 2 seconds for a rest day or this and that, unless they're physically injured. So why is this the case? Go ahead, Jim, with your thoughts.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, again, we talked a thousand times about the NFL and their just absolute dominance of the sports market, and Yes, they are going. This is going to happen. There will now be a Thanksgiving Eve game, and just like there are the day after Thanksgiving and Christmas and so forth, the NFL can't stop. And it you mentioned it. It's all about the money and, like I said, the dominance of the sports market. And as far as the NBA goes, listen, they've been playing 82 games for 100 years. Let's just, that's the season. It's going to change all of the record books and do things like that. It's, to me, the regular season is almost irrelevant in the NBA. And I've told you this a thousand times, but you make great points on this stuff, Eli. And it's it's the NBA and NFL, and they're taking each other on and trying to get more the marketplace and so forth. It's, you know what, it's going to happen because they want it to happen. And you know what? Fans like you and I, Eli, we're going to probably watch it anyway, on the
Unless
next.
it's on a streaming platform like Peacock and all this other stuff, then we ain't
Oh,
watching it.
that's a whole nother topic. But
That's a
good,
different topic for another day. But we do have a
yeah,
couple comments I want to get to. Diego says,
good
"Good morning."
monologue, though. By the way, my friend, good
Thank you.
monologue.
Diego says, "Good morning." Good morning, Diego. Guy Coriano also says, "Good morning." Good morning, Guy. Brandon says, "The sarcasticity of just one weekly game makes me long for it. Absence makes the heart grow founder. Please save the sacred Sunday game day." I absolutely agree. He also says, "Flex game means nothing to me. It's great for the casual channel surfer." I understand what your point is for the flexing the games. I think it's important for the primetime games, for the national games, that you flex out these big games. And I think
Mm,
also in the case like Thanksgiving, for example, and that's what my monologue was primarily about. Flex out these games where we have horrible Detroit Lion games and
mm.
Dallas Cowboy games. Put a better game that is on that week on Thanksgiving where the most people will watch that day, because that's just the bottom
Well,
line. People will watch it because it's the most watched regular season game.
and I think I actually agree with Brendan because, you know, I'm not going to watch the NFL 5 nights a week. I'm just not going to do it. I
Of course,
Right
I'm not
now I
gonna.
don't
If it's
even
on
really
streaming
watch the
platforms,
Thursday night games.
right? Like I don't watch the Prime Video game, and if there's more streaming platform games, I'm not watching it. I'm only gonna watch the ones that are on TV, or if
Yeah,
I'm doing absolutely nothing and I have that streaming service, then I'll watch it.
I agree. I agree. All right, Eli, let's take this to the next level here.
Ooh.
Let's start. It was where do you want to start? The
Let's start.
WBC, the
We'll go to
NFL,
the
and of
WBC.
course,
We'll start with the WBC, and I think that's the perfect way to start because the USA almost faced elimination this week, as they lost pretty badly this week to
right,
Italy, but they made it because Italy beat Mexico. And now we looked at
right.
yesterday's game. USA took a victory, a small victory though, 5-3 versus Canada, and Korea also took a loss yesterday to Dominican Republic, 10-0. And now we'll have Dominican Republic
Yeah.
and USA tomorrow at 8 o'clock on FS1. And then today we have, of course, two great games: Puerto Rico, Italy, which is one of the best ones on the menu today, and Venezuela, Japan at 9 o'clock on Fox. What are we taking from this WBC? How are we liking it? What are we thinking about
Mm,
this USA team where they almost missed the playoff, almost missed the playoffs of the
I
tournament?
know. And that would have been a travesty because what's happening now, it's exactly what we wanted. We wanted the USA versus Dominican Republic, right? And it's the Soto versus Judge and so forth. It's playing out exactly what we want. But yeah, that would have been a shocker. Losing to Italy and actually getting knocked out of the tournament would have been devastating for the USA. But it's playing out as we expected. The teams we wanted to be there at the end are going to be there at the end, and the USA has just as good a chance as anybody else to come out of this on top. But it is generating a lot of interest, though. With Aaron Judge being there and the face of the U.S. team, and Soto being the face of the Dominican team, it's great, great theater.
Absolutely, it really is a good stuff happening in the WBC, and we'll see what happens again tomorrow. Dominican Republic is a very tough team. If we're looking at tomorrow's game, they just beat
They are.
Korea 10-0. Mercy them. I mean, that was pretty crazy in itself. I'm curious to see what happens tomorrow. I think USA goes home tomorrow.
And of course, we got Japan. Let's not forget
Yes,
them. This is what we want. We want
we
to
want to
see
see Japan.
Otani
I
there.
think I see what's going to happen here. I think Japan, it's going to be Japan and Puerto Rico. I think that's tomorrow's game. And I think Japan and the Dominican Republic win tomorrow's games. And I see Japan winning it all. I see Dominican Republic getting stopped by Japan, and that's the only team that could stop them. I don't see the USA stopping this very tough Dominican Republic team tomorrow.
Okay, well, I actually think that the U.S. can beat the Dominican
Mm,
Republic. Obviously, I don't think anybody, um, Puerto Rico is not going to beat
of
Japan.
course.
So let's see. So you're going with the DR, and I'm going to go with the U.S. versus Japan in the
Yeah,
final.
I'm going with Japan, Dominican Republic, and I see that Japan wins it all. But I do think the Dominican Republic does beat Team USA tomorrow.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
Well, let's go now to the NFL. And by the way, for those who are watching, feel free to call in at any time. Scan the QR code, or you can click on the link in the chat to call in at any time. So let's go now to the National Football League, where we had tons of crazy moves this week and interesting stuff. But I think, of course, the big topic and the storyline was Max Crosby, as he has a failed trade happen this week. The Ravens backed out of the Max Crosby trade after he failed to pass his physical. The trade was from the Raiders to the Ravens. I mean, it doesn't surprise me, if it's a physical. I'm not like shocked like I was. I think many others were. I thought it was like, okay, it made sense. Failed physical. The initial announcement didn't show that, but now we look at it and it's like, okay, well, what are you gonna do? Like, I don't look at it like, oh my
Well, listen,
gosh.
I know, and this is, I've had conversations with people that they think there's a little bit more to this than just the failed physical, which I don't. I don't think there is some backdoor dealings that were happening and that they were playing the Crosby thing against the Hendrickson thing. Um, Max Crosby is coming off a reconstructed knee. So he failed his physical. So that was a good opportunity to say, wait a minute, we're going to give up two number ones for a guy that may not be the same player he once was. I think that was, but a lot of people are thinking that it was some behind the scenes, even with like Schefter and the agents and all this kind of stuff. Let's not read way too much into that. Hendrickson is healthy, and they had an opportunity to get out of the Crosby deal because he failed his physical. I don't think it's much more than that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're gonna go to some of these other big trades and signings this week. Tua still has a job.
Yeah,
He now goes to the Falcons. I can't believe that
right.
that happened. I mean, I'm sorry, but like the amount of concussions that he suffered with Miami, now he's going to give it another shot with
Yeah.
the Falcons. And how about this? Geno Smith is now a New York Jet again. I mean, he signs a deal with them. I couldn't believe that either. I mean, these are two
Well,
quarterbacks,
Eli,
and Kyle Murray
yep,
goes to the Vikings, another quarterback. Like, wow.
yep. Those were the three. Those were the three big moves that we saw, and
Yeah.
I think we pretty much knew that Murray was going to the Vikings. That
Yeah.
means J.J. McCarthy is not the prospect, the number one
Right.
pick that they thought. Yeah, if I'm a New York Jet fan, and I told you this guys last week. If I'm a New York Jet fan, I'm going, wait a minute. This is what we are going to expect. I'm a season ticket holder, and you're basically telling me we're going to be a 7-win team uh, again and not make the playoffs for the longest current streak in the NFL. Incredible.
Yep.
Listen, Geno Smith is a marginal quarterback. We know that. He had some good times with Seattle, but it was an abomination with the Raiders. But so this is part two. But the Jets, this means they're not going anywhere. And as far as Tua goes, I think what this means that at least Atlanta, that maybe this Michael Penix Jr. is injured more than people are letting on. So they let Cousins go. So though you're right, Eli, those were the three kind of big moves. The Giants didn't make any earth-shattering moves. I mean, getting Lively was, you know,
Yeah.
not an earth-shattering move, right? So
Right.
those were definitely the big story topics with the free agency, and we knew it was going to be big with all these new head coaches and so forth. A lot of them going to their new teams and bringing players that used to play for them and so forth. So this is something we expected to see.
And before I get to Brandon, I just want to bring up the other three big names that was on my list. Mike Evans signs with the 49ers. That was a huge one. Travis Kelce is going to return. The other one, Kenneth Walker to the Chiefs. And I've said this before, and I've said this throughout the week. I said I'm okay with Kenneth Walker not being a Seattle Seahawk anymore. I was okay with that from the start because I
I
knew
know.
that during the regular season he always gets hurt and we don't see the best of him. Yes,
Yeah.
we saw him great in the postseason this year, especially in the Super Bowl. But regular season, we didn't see that. Now we have other weapons, so I'm okay with him not being a Seattle Seahawk anymore. But I'm going to get to Brendan now. He's calling in now. Good morning. How are you doing today?
Good morning, gentlemen. I like the new logo. Happy St. Patrick's Day weekend. As you can
Yes.
see, I got my
There we go.
Irish Key West, Florida, Irish Kevins, and an
I
unnamed
see.
boxer winter hat, Michael Conlon. Anyway, big question here. I want to
Great to
talk
have
about
you
your
on,
NFL
Brendan.
take before I get to the WEC. Thank you. Is Arch Manning going to allow Arch Junior? I'm sorry. Is Arch Manning Senior going to allow Arch Manning to be a Jet?
Hmm.
That's my question to you.
Jim, I'll let you take that
I
one.
don't know. I don't
Start it
know if
off.
anybody wants to be a New York Jet, Brendan. Honestly, I am appalled that this is the path that they're taking. I just can't. I don't understand the franchise. I don't know what to say. It's indefensible.
Minka Fitzpatrick traded for welcome to hell with the New York Jets. I mean, it just makes no sense.
Right, but
They're
I
not
mean,
getting any better.
Minka, he's been in the league
They
for
want to
10
be.
years. I mean, I remember watching him
Yeah.
play at St. Peter's against St. Joe's. I mean, it's crazy.
They have no strategy. They have no strategy, and the only thing that can
None.
save them is perhaps Arch Manning after this year if they can get him. But I would not be surprised if the Mannings pull the plug on it and say no, you're
Yeah.
not going to be a Jet.
You know what,
I wouldn't
Brendan?
be.
What they should even consider, and I don't know, like we're talking about the QB crop this year. Obviously, it's Mendoza, and some people are on the fence with Ty Simpson. You're better
Yes.
off drafting a Ty Simpson with that number one pick at least. So you could say to your fans, this is better than a Geno Smith solution.
Yeah,
And
we,
they
we got we got
there's no
5 years to work
guarantee
with them. Right.
and there's no guarantee that they could get Arch Manning next year. So I don't know what to tell
Correct.
you if I'm a Jet fan.
Yeah.
Now, as a Giant fan, I'm looking at Jeremiah Love and saying, boy, if they scoop him up, even though they have Scattaboo, they have Ricard blocking for Scattaboo,
Mhm.
um, they instantly become an NFC East contender.
I've always said that.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna say favorite. I'm not gonna say favorite, but
Okay.
their team becomes instantly better with Jeremiah Love. And Jim, I'm surprised you didn't touch base upon, as a former punter myself, the Giants locked down one of the best punters in the NFL. Flipping the field is going to be huge with the way they're going to be playing.
I don't know. Okay, all right. So the Graham. What's the guy's? Who was the punter the past 3 years? The Australian guy.
The Scottish Hammer, and he wasn't much of a hammer.
Yeah, I got it. Okay.
Now listen, what you guys missed upon, I'm gonna jump in here. Is I talked to Jim, I talked to you this week about Mark DeRosa. Very uninspiring effort as a manager for WBC USA. If he's auditioning for a managerial job in the MLB, he does not. You know they don't have tiebreaker rules, but he's treating this tournament like it's an all-star game. He's rotating too many players in, and they have an embarrassment of riches, in my opinion. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and you look at teams like Puerto Rico and Japan, and they have just enough, right? They have just enough. And one last comment about the WBC, and I am not a fan of the. I love the excitement from the tournament, the Venezuelas, the Dominican
Yep.
Republics, the Puerto Ricos, the Japanese, etc. I'm not advocating for American baseball to be like a Dominican game because I just feel that it's too much energy, but it would be nice to see a little bit more energy from the players. It just seems like a very dry roster.
Yep.
Um, Cal Raleigh behind the plate, he won't shake hands with his teammates. I don't know how I feel about that. It's kind of not a big story, but I think America has to come to the realization if they don't win this tournament that it's not our number one game anymore.
Mm.
Yeah. I think it's the bottom line, and I think it's becoming awkward. I think that's the best way to say it. It's awkward to see. It's like treating this like an all-star game. I think that's just the way to best put it. I think.
Well, I
Yeah,
don't
but
even know. Hey, Brendan, I don't even know how did Mark DeRosa, who has no managerial experience, become the manager of the United States baseball team? I don't understand that at all.
I think the only answer I could give you is one with sarcasm, and that's because his Bergen Catholic Crusaders may have beaten St. Joe's when he played high school baseball. I don't know.
You could be right, my friend. Thanks for the call, buddy.
All right. Take care, fellas.
Thank you.
All right. I know he's got a good take on stuff like that.
He's good with
yeah,
that. I know. Yeah,
we'll
you can't
see.
argue with it. All right. Well, I think it's time to move on to some college basketball.
Well, I'm glad that we are, because I know there is a lot of stuff going on. I got to be honest. The conference tournaments and stuff, and I'm going to run them down in a couple of minutes, is really exciting for college basketball. Like I don't recall seeing this much interest in the actual results of these tournaments and how it's going to affect the seedings and stuff. I love it. It couldn't be any better. It's
Yeah,
great.
it really is awesome. I mean, we are into the final day of basketball before March
Yeah.
Madness. The bracket comes out tomorrow, 6 o'clock CBS, for the women,
Yep.
8 o'clock on ESPN. This is super exciting. And how about the Big East tournament? It's been interesting. It really has been. I mean,
Yeah.
Seton Hall obviously got the win versus Creighton. They lost last night at St. John's. We get that. They're not a shooting team. We understood that. But how about the 11 seed upset from game one, from day one, playing yesterday, Georgetown? How about that? That was an upset. They beat Nova. They
Yeah.
beat Villanova.
But
That was awesome.
that's what these conference tournaments, that's why they're so exciting, because you never know exactly what's going to happen. And yeah, nobody saw Georgetown. They're a terrible
Yeah, nobody
basketball
did.
team. And, I was watching your team, the Seton Hall Pirates,
Yeah,
yesterday, and you and I talked a little bit about it before we came on the air, that, Holloway did a great job, Big East Coach of the Year and so
Yeah, we
forth,
understood. Yep, I understand that part.
but
But
they
the team can't
the
shoot.
basketball.
They can't shoot. Look at the game one versus Crane. 4 for 10 on the threes. They're still not making half the threes. Yes, that was less than other games. I'm okay with that.
Yep.
But we're not making half the threes. This is
Oh.
why we are not a tournament contender yet. The bracket, we don't know. They could make it. The bracket comes out tomorrow, but we highly doubt it. But still, this is why. You need to make your shots. If you cannot make shots, you're not going to win games. And I don't care if we had a winning season. We actually play much better than we were last year. No question. I'm happy about that. But we
Yep.
can't make shots. We can't win against the big schools like the UConns and the St. John's, who are tournament contenders.
Yes, they are. Well, let's break it down a little bit. So there's a lot going on with college basketball. And not only, I'm going to go through the big conference tournaments today, because it's going to be very
Yes,
exciting.
of course. Yep.
And you already brought up the Big East. It's UConn versus St. John's, which should be a
Tonight on Fox.
really good
Yep.
game. I don't trust UConn to get in there. We're going to make our Final Four picks, even though the selections haven't come out yet. But there's also a lot of coaches got fired. Kim English from Providence, and Bobby Hurley. I don't know
Yes.
if it's been announced, but he's going to be out at Arizona State. Wes Miller, Cincinnati, he's out. Adrian Autry, Syracuse, he's out. So, I mean, this is what college basketball is so exciting. But,
100%.
right?
I do have one point I want to bring up, and I think
ahead.
this is like a question for our audience and for you as well, Jim. And this is going back to the Big East and stuff. This was a conversation that we had on the post-game show Thursday, which I was co-hosting. Should the Big East continue to name Madison Square Garden the home for the tournament? The reason why I say that is because if we look at St. John's now, they're pretty much have a home game now. Every
Sure.
single game in the postseason now is becoming a home game. And now that they're good, it's pretty much that's their home, Madison Square Garden. That's where the Big East is now. And now they're the home team winning the home tournament. It's crazy to think about. Should they be playing at a neutral site like UBS Arena in Long Island? Should they continue to stay at Madison Square Garden? What are you thinking about it? Because how I look at it is it's getting to the point where it's like we need to go to a neutral site where you should be going to like a UBS Arena. I understand why Madison Square Garden, heart of New York, you couldn't ask to play anywhere else. I mean, I wouldn't ask to play anywhere else either. I mean, that's pretty cool too. Except I'm a Devils fan, go to Prudential Center. But um,
Yeah,
seriously,
I don't
they
know.
should go to a neutral site, the Big East.
I know that's how it seems to play out, and it's St. John's kind of home court. But from a ticket distribution perspective, it's supposed to be 50-50. And we're going to run into
It's not.
these situations at some point. But listen, it's there because it's the mecca of basketball, and it's New York City, and it generates income and interest and so forth. So I don't think that's ever going to change.
And yes, absolutely, and I agree that it is the iconic
But I see
stadium.
your point. I see your point.
But it's just St. John's the home team now. Frankie brings up MSG as iconic. I think it needs to stay there for the Big East. No question. I think it's definitely iconic, and I wouldn't want to leave there either. But I just think that it's becoming more of a home field advantage now for St. John's more than
Well,
anything else. It's not a neutral site.
I
Neutral site.
and I and I see that, and we talked about it before that the women's Big East tournament was up at Mohegan Sun, so
Sun.
you could
That's
also say
UConn.
that
It's
the
for UConn,
UConn,
pretty
that's
much.
almost a home game for them. So you
Exactly.
can't get away from it.
No, that's the thing. But yes, no question about it. Mohegan Sun is not. It's not the home for UConn, but yeah, I mean it's different
I
though. They
got
don't
you.
play in Mohegan Sun. You know, I guess it's a little different. But yeah,
Okay, so Eli, let me break down a couple of conference tournaments because
Yep.
there's really exciting games today, and some of the finals will be tomorrow, right? We got the
Right.
SEC, and SEC basketball is certainly on the rise, and you got Florida Vanderbilt, and you got a surprise team, Ole Miss, who, as my dear friend Kenny, the professor I call him, pointed out, they haven't been down by 1 point in the entire um, conference play, and I think the it's going to run out. I'm pulling for Ole Miss, but I think Arkansas might take that. So that's the SEC. The ACC, it's kind of what we expected to see, right? Duke, even though I'm not 100% sold on Duke, and believe it or not, they're not going to be one of my picks in the Final Four, even though they're the number one team in the country.
Yep.
As Kenny would point out, that they lack a little bit of defense. They got some injuries, but they're going up against Virginia, who is one of my Final Four teams. That may come
Ooh.
as a surprise to some.
Okay.
The Big Ten, we got Wisconsin and Michigan, and great game, both great teams. Michigan will be one of my Final Four teams as well, and Purdue, UCLA. And UCLA is a little bit better than I thought they were, actually. So finally had a chance to watch some of their game, and they're pretty good. The Big 12, Arizona, Houston in the final, right? Arizona's been number one sometime during the season, and Houston was probably number one. And now the conference final. That's a great, great basketball game.
Oh,
And
absolutely. Cannot wait.
yeah, and I'm taking Houston because Houston's one of my Final Four. I'm giving this all away here, but
I know. What are you doing here, Jim? Like, we're gonna save some show around.
and then finally, let's see, what did I miss? You pointed this out, Eli. Even though Miami of Ohio lost, they were still 31-1, and they better be in this tournament. If
But
they
there's
leave
rumors
them out,
that
that's
they
going
may
to
not
be
make it though. There's rumors that they may not make it though because of the weak schedule that they played.
31-0 is 31-0.
Right, but did they play anybody good though? Who was their best player? Who was the best team that they beat though? Same like Seton Hall. Yeah, they had a winning record. Who do they beat though? Who do they beat? That's the thing.
I know,
Like we argue
but
that, but like
you're going to end up
who do they beat?
you're going to end up getting teams like Prairie View State because they're going to win their conference tournament that they're going to get in, and they're not as good as Miami of Ohio. So it's just a debate, open for discussion.
Of course. But we don't know again to the bracket. And for all we know, some of the best teams we want may not even be in it because that's just how March Madness is.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a weird tournament. It's like fun tournament. Great music. I love the music. The theme song's blasting my head. But like, yeah. My Final Four pick, since Jim gave it all away. I'm gonna go with it for now. Again, the bracket hasn't come out.
Yep.
Based off my knowledge, though, my Final Four is gonna be St. John's, Florida, Duke, and Arizona. Again, this could change because again, the bracket has not come out yet. But for now, my bracket choice is St. John's, Florida, Duke, and Arizona.
Wow, so you're looking at St. John's to knock off UConn today in the
I'm looking at
Big
St.
East
John's
final,
knock
huh?
off UConn. But that doesn't mean that UConn won't make it. I mean, we know they'll probably still make it, even if they lose, because we just know how that works. UConn's always going to be it, even if they have a horrible record, because
Well,
that's just
that'll
what happens.
That'll be a great pick for you if St. John's ends up making the Final Four.
I'm
You
sorry
know,
to my Seton friends. I know I'm Seton, but still, I mean, I just got to go by the facts here. I
of
think that they have a
course.
shot here.
So to reiterate, my Final Four is Michigan, Houston, Florida, and Virginia.
Hmm. Brandon comments real quick. He says a 500 power forward team has no business over Miami, Ohio.
They got to get in, Brendan. 31-0. I don't care who they were playing. That's worthy of getting in that large bid, and that large bid. So that's how I see it. Eli, while we're talking about college basketball, I just wanted to bring this up because when I was watching the St. John's game, I
Yep.
saw they pan into the audience and saw Walter Berry sitting
Mhm.
with Mark Jackson, and I just wanted to mention it if I haven't already. But it was like a big moment, not only for this was Walter Berry was I consider him the original, the truth. That's the first time I ever heard that nickname, and people use it all the time now. But he was the player of the year in 1985, and that was the year St. John's was #1 for a good portion of the season. And then they ran up against this powerhouse, the Niagara Purple Eagles, who knocked them off when they were #1 team. But Walter Berry was on that team with Mark Jackson and Bill Wennington and of course Chris Mullen. So that's why college basketball still resonates from that. Walter Berry from 40 years ago was
Yeah.
a dominant player in college hoops.
All right. Well, we're gonna do a little rapid fire now with NHL and NBA. I'm gonna start with the NHL.
Okay.
That's gonna be first, then we'll go to the NBA. We'll start off with this. Maple Leafs Austin Matthews will miss the rest of the season after suffering a grade 3 MCL tear and a quad contusion from Thursday's Ducks game. Alex Ovechkin is now just 2 goals away from joining Wayne Gretzky as the second player in NHL history with 1,000 career goals. So watch out for him.
That includes playoffs.
That includes the playoffs. That's right. Yep.
Right.
Alrighty. And yeah, of course, in the NHL right now, Carolina is #1. Colorado is #1 on the West Coast. The Devils and the Rangers ain't looking too good. They're on the bottom. They're going to be eliminated within the upcoming weeks and stuff.
You know,
Transition.
Eli, I'm
Yeah.
glad that you brought that Austin Matthews thing up because he's one of the best players in the league. And I actually watched the play before we came on the show
Yep.
because it's kind of been deemed as a dirty play. And I didn't see it as an overly dirty play. I didn't look like he was targeting
Yep.
Matthews. I mean, they did collide knees.
Mhm.
But I'm kind of on the fence of whether or not it was super dirty. It's certainly unfortunate. And this is just the Toronto Maple Leafs have been having a hell of a time trying to win a Stanley Cup since the 60s.
Yep.
But that's a big loss for the NHL because he's a great, great player. And unfortunately, he's done for the season. But, you could weigh in whether or not it was intentional or not. I didn't see it that way. Unfortunate, yes. Intentional, no.
Well, let's go now to the NBA. But before we get to the big story of the day, Dwight Howard announces his retirement from basketball. And in the world of standing wise, the Nets, the Wizards, the Pacers, and the Kings have already been eliminated from the playoffs. No team is officially in the playoffs, though, but we do have teams already out as the season nears the end. But the big storyline, Bam Adebayo, I'm not going to butcher this one. I already messed it up. Bam Adebayo set second all-time record for points in a single game, 83, now ahead of Kobe Bryant, who's now in third with 81. And in first, Will Chamberlain with 100 points in NBA history. Bam is now second in NBA history. What are your thoughts on this, Jim? Because I know you have been holding it in that you want to say something about it. I know it's going to say that the NBA has no defense. I'm already going about along those lines. I have a feeling that's what you're going to think and what you're going to say. I'm happy for the kid, but I just know where Jim's going with this.
Okay, well, listen, if nothing else, you have to admire my consistency here. You're right. There's no defense in the National Basketball Association. And him scoring 83 points, yes, it's kind of a great feat, but 43 free throws, I mean, listen, if you wanted to do this and one night these guys get together and they say, I'm going to let Luka Doncic take every single shot for the Lakers. He could score 80 points. He'll go to the line. He hits threes. Adebayo didn't hit a lot of threes. He missed a lot too. But going to the line 43 times, it was like, what's going on? Obviously, it was the Wizards, who were an absolute disgrace of a basketball team, But one night, if they just picked and Anthony Edwards, for example, if they said, you know what, I'm going to try to score 84 points, and they would just feed him the ball, he'd take some threes, go to the line 45 times, he could score 83. It's a great feat. I'm not dismissing it, but it's certainly nothing like Will Chamberlain's 100 points, where there was no 3-point line, and Kobe Bryant, which that was great. He went to the line, but not 43 times. So I'm going to put an asterisk next to the Bam Adebayo 83 points. It's a quite an accomplishment, but I think it could be done if any team decides on any given night. Let's have Luka Doncic or Anthony Edwards or Victor Wembanyama score 84 points. I think they could make that happen.
Brandon says, NBA, there is no culture of competition or team pride.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think it's time now for some random points. And that's going to be sponsored by Lynch Toyota of Manchester, Connecticut. I'll kick it off.
And vital selections.
Well, that's coming up in our entertainment segment. We'll talk about the Oscars at the entertainment segment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in a little bit. We'll talk Oscars a little bit, but first let's start with this. Tony Dungy has been informed by NBC Sports that he won't be back with Football Night in America. He confirms this week after spending 17 years with the program. And
was there some sort of controversy with?
I think something with the Super Bowl. I think he said something without on Alcatraz. I don't know.
Yeah.
But NBC is on a roll, because here comes the next story. NBC Universal Syndication Studios will be ending all their first-run syndicated talk shows and programs after this season. We already know Kelly Clarkson is already going away because she's stepping away because of her family, so she's ending her talk show. But also, the iconic Access Hollywood and Access Daily with Mario Lopez and all of them, that franchise is ending after nearly 20 years of being on the air. And I think a big factor to why, low ratings. I just did a presentation on this week. Less than 2 million people watch the show weekly, and the viewership has always gone down and never up for Access Daily in Hollywood. And I think that's a key reason why it's going. But there is the change in daytime talk show. NBC is getting rid of their syndication studios for all these talk shows. It's pretty crazy that the landscape has changed completely for NBC.
I don't know. I mean, sometimes when I've been off and I watch what's going on daytime television, it's unwatchable altogether. I don't know how people.
The only show I love watching, Live with Kelly Mark. Occasionally, I'll watch The View here and there, but yeah,
I wouldn't watch The View if somebody said, I'll pay you $500 to sit and watch The View every day. I wouldn't take it.
I would. I honestly would. It's a good show. And sometimes they get into fights, which is exciting.
Okay.
I may not agree with a lot of their points, but I just think it's a funny conversation. Anyways, off of The View. In a daytime plus, though, the Drew Barrymore show with CBS has received a 2-year extension through 2028. NJ Transit. New Jersey Transit Service will be returning to normal on Monday. On Thursday, NJ Transit, Amtrak, and government officials took their first inaugural ride on the new Portal Bridge, marking the official opening. Yesterday, the old bridge acted up, causing a wire to be down on the tracks. As a result, since the new bridge was open and on time, they started using it 2 days earlier than scheduled. So that's why some trains were still running to New York yesterday. Thank God for that. The bad news, though, only one track is open on the new Portal Bridge. Similar delays and cancellations are coming in full as they will move the second track over to the new bridge. But for now, all trains will resume their normal new routes to New York and Hoboken, resuming on Monday.
So that's all right. That's Elijah Weintraub in the Mono-Chop copter giving us the transit update. Awesome. Thank you.
Couple more points. Yesterday, Alicia Keys held a special concert celebrating Apple's 50th anniversary at Grand Central Terminal. The place was shut down yesterday on a busy Friday commuter day. Trains were still able to run, by the way, but it was super cool to see her play her iconic Empire State of Mind, the New York song by Alicia Keys, in Grand Central Terminal. How cool is that? And a couple other notes.
Voice.
She does. She's great. And she had a great
Good.
Broadway show too. I didn't get to see it, but saw the clips. It was amazing what she put together. For those who are a fan of the show Family Guy, Fox has announced and ordered a 2-season spinoff for a show called Stewie for 2027 to 2028. That's in the works. So if you're a fan of the Family Guy, you got Stewie coming your way.
Never saw it. Don't know anything
Family
about
Guy is
it.
a good show. It's a good show.
Yeah,
Good
it's been
theme.
around. Been around.
Then just like the new show, Ted season 2, a lot of people are giving good reviews about it. We'll talk about the Oscars in a little bit, but the last note I have is SNL's all new tonight with host and musical guest Harry Styles.
Oh, yeah. Harry came out with a new album, right?
Yeah, and he was on last week too. He made a special appearance in the audience during Ryan Gosling's show for SNL. Yeah.
Nice.
All right, I'll head it to you, and we'll talk Oscars in a little bit.
Okay. So we're about a month away from the Masters, which is great, right? So last week we had the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Akshay Bhatia wins that, and now we're at the Players TPC Sawgrass today, and the usual suspects are not there. Scotty Scheffler's having a tough time, McIlroy's having a tough time, but right now it's today's moving day, and one of the most iconic, the 17th hole is one of the more iconic holes in all of golf. So I'm getting excited for the Masters coming up soon. Eli, you brought up something before. You mentioned real quick about Dwight Howard, and I was given a lot of thought about him being a first ballot Hall of Famer. I had to rethink.
I know you're thinking
I
of
know
that.
he was very, very good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he was certainly had a superhuman body too. But when I saw that he's been he was already elected to the Hall of Fame, and then he announces his retirement. I go, first ballot Hall of Famer? Wow. I mean, maybe down the line, but not first ballot. I disagree with that one. And I know, Eli, I always bring up our sports memorabilia when something sells for a record price. We talk about it every now and then. But the Aaron Judge rookie 2013 card sold for $5.2 million the other day. Unbelievable, right?
Wow.
I mean, somebody had $5.2 million to buy a baseball card. God bless him. He should do more with his money, like give it to people that don't have any food, But anyway, that's the sports memorabilia thing. And Eli, this is breaking news. But I'm kind of a fisherman, amateur to say the least, but I do like to fish. But the Bassmasters bass tournament, a guy actually put weights in the bass itself, so he's facing felony charges, all to try to win first place in a bass fishing tournament. Big scandal. Big scandal.
We see scandals out of all the possible. Really, fishing? Come on! Wow!
And all it was dollars. Actually, this is the first time this has happened, though. But this guy got caught.
I believe it too. I believe it.
Fish. They're going to weigh it, and they put a metal detector over the fish, and this thing starts dinging like there's metal weights in there. Isn't that unbelievable? That really, really happened. Unbelievable.
What else is new?
Those are my random points.
Well, sign now for What's Your Recommendation? The photo second, sponsored by Vital Selection. Scan the QR code to learn more. So my recommendations this week is the Oscars, 7 o'clock tomorrow on ABC. Of course, the pregame stuff starts at 3 o'clock-ish, around that time for the red carpet and stuff. So enjoy the Oscars tomorrow. Conan O'Brien hosts. So who's winning the Oscar for Best Picture and Actor? I know we were talking about this. We want to make our predictions about this, Jim. So let's start with Best Picture. Who wins the Best Picture tomorrow? By the way, the nominees are The Secret Agent, Marty Supreme, F1, Frankenstein, One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, Hamnet, Sinners, Train Dreams, and Bogonoya. Yeah.
Since when do they have 10 nominees for Best Picture? I don't remember that being the case.
So I think the winner, I don't know. I'm going to go with One Battle After Another. I think that is who wins the Oscar tomorrow for Best Picture.
Oh God, I couldn't even get through that movie. It was awful.
What do you think is the winner?
Can't imagine if that would win.
What's your winner?
I think Sinners is going to win, even though I didn't think much of that movie either. And I think Michael B. Jordan is going to win Best Actor. So those are my only. The only reason I'm going to watch some of the Oscars
It's because of
Eli,
Michael B.
is 'cause
Jordan.
Conan O'Brien.
Oh yeah, Conan O'Brien is awesome. I
No,
love him.
because
What a
Conan
great
O'Brien.
host he's going to be,
I
and
love
he was great last year.
Big time.
Um,
Me too.
By the way, the nominees for the Best Actor award is Michael B. Jordan, Leonardo DiCaprio, Ethan Hawke, Wagner Moura, and Timothy Chalamet. I don't think Jordan wins it. I don't think he's going to win it. I think to me, it's either going to be Chalamet or DiCaprio. And if I had to pick, I think that Chalamet is going to get the Oscar this year. He needs an Oscar. He has to add to his collection. I think tomorrow he gets it.
Oh God, what a terrible movie that was. If Leonardo DiCaprio wins for that, then I gotta turn in my Screen Actors Guild card or something. Because
yeah, but by the way, the Oscars tomorrow, 7:00 on ABC. Conan O'Brien hosts. He's a great host last year. It's going to be tough to beat last year's Open with Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande with that wicked style performance opening. So good luck to whoever opens tomorrow. Yeah. All right, let's go to some pictures.
Wait, hold on. I got to my recommendations, because I'm glad that you brought up the Oscars, because, you know, this is a great month. Turner Classic Movies shows 31 days of just nothing but nominated Oscars movies and so forth. And, you know, I watched some good movies, and we lost Robert Duvall about a month ago, and got a chance to watch Tender Mercies, which he won Best Actor for. Great movie. And then it was followed by The Great Santini, which is an unbelievably great movie. He should have won Best Actor for that one as well. But it's been great. So you can set your calendars for next year. 31 days of Oscar movies on Turner Classics. It can't be beat. It's great.
All right.
Great
Turner
program.
Classics. There it is. Let's take a look at some photos.
Yeah. Now, I only have one, Eli, because we went through a lot of tough times during the winter and so forth. And now spring is coming. Just, that's a beautiful sky, isn't it? Just look at the colors.
Well, last week, too, I think it was was it Sunday? We had that like purplish orange sky. I didn't take a picture of it, but I thought that was pretty cool.
That's what that is. That's why I wanted to put that up.
It was a really good, good sky. Yeah. Well, we do have some notable passings. You have it all for this week, so I'll let you take it from here.
Okay, there's some notable passings. First and foremost, for our music lovers from the older generation, Country Joe McDonald, who played obviously at Woodstock and so forth, and he was an anti-Vietnam musician type thing. Had some big hits. He passed away at 84 years old. I wasn't able to go to Woodstock because I was only 6 years old, and my father wouldn't let me go. That's a bit. Anyway, so also from the world of hockey, Eli, Troy Murray, 63, and he was the announcer for the Blackhawks, won a cup with the Colorado, but most of his career spent with the Chicago Blackhawks. Was a really good player. Scored 230 goals and had almost 600 points. That was a big loss for the Blackhawks organization. And Matt Snell from New York Jets Super Bowl team with Joe Namath, 1969. He passed away at 84. And he rushed for over 100 yards when that was a big deal in that Super Bowl, the shocking upset of the Jets over the Colts. But he was a very pivotal part of that team. And, there was always some fallout, because I know the Jet owner, Sonny Werblin, promised him that he was going to be a Jet, in the Jet family, and, a face of the New York Jets for the rest of his life. And somehow after the sale of the Jets, there was a falling out. So that's unfortunate. But Matt Snell, for Jet fans, their last Super Bowl team, he was 84. Mm-hmm. And Eli, from the local news area in New York City, Ernie Anastas, who was 82 years old, longtime anchor for ABC and CBS,
Fox,
and
every channel.
Was always visible.
Awesome.
Yeah, very, very good personality. Yeah. Very New York. He had some set of hair on him, too.
He was a great guy. He
was a real good looker. Good looking anchor, and
New York sports. New York.
I think people certainly from the
Really, he's gonna be missed. That's for sure.
Yeah, he did a good job in New York for many years.
Absolutely.
I'm surprised he was
I know.
82.
Well, we had a really good show today. We thank you for everybody who called in, who watched, and who commented. We'll be back next week at 10 a.m. where we'll be talking about March Madness as we will enter round 2 by the time our show airs. Enjoy the World Baseball Classic upcoming. Enjoy your St. Patrick's Day. Enjoy the bracket tomorrow. Make
Yep.
sure you fill out your brackets. That's more importantly. That's the most important part. Diego says, "Rip Ernie." Thank you for Diego for the comment. Thank you for everybody
Yeah.
for commenting, watching. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Enjoy the bracket show tomorrow. Enjoy the Oscars tomorrow. We'll be talking about that next week, of course. And have a great week.
Well, listen, I want to echo those thoughts about wishing everyone a happy St. Patrick's Day and just an exciting time of the year in sports. And like I said, I'm very excited about college basketball right now and looking forward to it. And I kind of thought we were going to have
Right.
our resident Big East guy
I
William
know.
on today.
No, we missed it.
He must be at the pawn shop selling his Pokemon cards or something. So we'll
He
catch
came
you
on
next
late
week.
because
But
the
Eli,
trains are all mess last night. We were
right?
talking about that.
But you have a great week too.
Yes.
Thanks everybody for joining us. And of course, you could send us emails at sportswithmonoandmono@gmail.com.
Have a great week.